Babylon conquered Jerusalem in 597 BC. Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon in 539 BC, and he issued a proclamation, known as the Edict of Cyrus, that allowed the Jews to return to Jerusalem and the land of Israel and to rebuild Jerusalem. There were three leaders that led the effort in rebuilding Jerusalem. There was Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah. Listen and pay close attention, as we will take a look at the 10 gates of Jerusalem, reconstructed by the efforts of Nehemiah. We will look at the residue of what is left of the 10 gates of Jerusalem after the 70 AD destruction by Titus Vespasian.
This is it. This is the original, the authentic, the historical Jerusalem of scripture and of history. This is it. This is how it looks. This is its shape. This is its topology. This is the real one. This is what we're looking at here. Now we're going to go with the gates of Jerusalem. And the gates that we're going to look at, they are found in the book of Nehemiah. And they are found only on the old city. The old city is this here. All of this is the old city. The old city sits on the first mountain. Jerusalem sits on two mountains. This is the first one. The old city sits on the first mountain, and on this mountain, the old city contains 10 gates. This is the second mountain that Jerusalem sits up upon, and this one also has gates, but these gates, they're not listed in scripture, so we do not know the total amount of gates that Jerusalem had. But nonetheless, the 10 gates found in the book of Nehemiah all apply to the old city. So we're going to take a look at those gates and go with briefly a quick look at the gates of Jerusalem, starting with the Dung Gate. And the Dung Gate is exactly what the name says is dung. Whether this is dung of human dung, or the animal dung. Now, this opening right here, this one or this opening here, these two are candidates for the Dung Gate. The Dung Gate is in this section here. And so either the Dung Gate was here or there. This piece here, this is part of a tunnel. Jerusalem had several tunnels. Now that's the Dung Gate. Over here, and the Dung Gate is in Nehemiah, chapter 3, verse 13. All of the gates, you're going to find them in Nehemiah, chapter 3. All 10 gates are listed there. Over here is the Fountain Gate, and Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 15. You're going to find that here. And the Fountain Gate was close to the Gihon Springs, where the Gihon Spring will flow from Jerusalem. And it is possible that this piece here is where the Gihon Spring was flowing from, out of Jerusalem. So that's the Dung Gate, the Fountain Gate, and let's go over here. This is the Valley Gate. The Valley Gate is found in chapter 3, verse 13. The Valley Gate was somewhere over here. Right up in this area. It's close to the Mount Zion, the original Mount Zion. And it's within the Valley of the Cheesemongers. The next gate, this one has an interesting name, Watergate. And that puts us in mind of the corruption of the United States during the Nixon era. But this is the Watergate in Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 26. Right over here. In this area here, Watergate. Over here, Jerusalem, they had horses. And the horses are not really mentioned too much. Actually, not mentioned at all in scripture. But they did have horses. The soldiers and warriors of Israel, of Jerusalem, many of them rode horses, and so they have a horse gate And Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 28. You have a horse gate there. Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 29, you're going to find the east gate, close to the horse gate, right over here. Along the eastern wall, you're going to find these gates here. And as we go up here, this is the gate right here. This is called the Mifkad gate. Mifkad is the inspection gate in Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 31. That's the inspection gate called Mifkad. What this gate is this is during David's time. David, he would inspect the soldiers, make sure their armor is correct. You have a sword, shield, and so on and so forth. He would inspect the soldiers and make sure they're ready and prepared for battle. That's the inspection gate called the Mifkad. Now going along here, along the eastern wall, we find the sheep gate. Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 1. Next to the sheep gate is the fish gate. And that's over here. The sheep gate is here. The fish gate is located over here, close to the Antonia fortress. Fish gate is found in Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 3. And the next gate is the old gate. Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 6. This gate right here. And so those are the gates of the old city. 10 gates. Now again, Jerusalem had more gates. There are some gates on the new city, on the second mountain range. But as before, those gates, they're not listed in scripture, so we don't know the total amount of gates. But these are the gates of Jerusalem. And this Jerusalem, this is the real one. This is the historical one. This is the one that went through the 70 AD destruction by Titus Vespasian. We are looking at the residue, the burntness of that outcome, the destruction of Jerusalem. This is it. This is what it is. This is what is left of it. This is how I look here, and we can still tell from the openings along the walls, along the perimeter. We can tell that some of these openings are gates. A lot of these openings are not gates. They are the residue of the burntness and destruction of Jerusalem. But this is it here. This is how Jerusalem looked. This is the real one. This is not the one in the Middle East. That one is Hadrian's Jerusalem. And that Jerusalem is shaped in somewhat of a square. And if you look at that Jerusalem through satellite, it'll be very difficult to see its perimeter, its borders, because they're hidden, they're covered up. But this one here, this is the real one, the one of history, the one of scripture, the one where Christ roamed, the one where the disciples roamed. This is the one where David founded this piece here called the Old City. This is it here, the real Jerusalem. And so far we have located and found 10 gates along the Old City of Jerusalem. This is our city within our land. This is Jerusalem, and it's properly called Agasimba. Agasimba is Bantu, and it means land of the lion. And this is our land and our city, Agasimba.
These are the 10 gates of Jerusalem, of the residue of what is left of Jerusalem. You are viewing the real thing, the real historical Jerusalem, the one of scripture. The 10 gates are found on the old city. The new city called Bezeetha had gates, but those gates are not listed in scripture, so we do not know the total number of gates Jerusalem had. But be careful, and do not confuse the biblical Jerusalem in Namibia with the fraudulent Jerusalem in the Middle East. The Jerusalem in the Middle East has many gates that are not in scripture and were added in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries. Let the truth be told.